I think it's a good time to get some perspective on Arsenal at the moment. They're obviously on really bad form, going out of the Champions League and losing to Aston Villa, but it is not the end of the world, and I wanted to shed some positive light around the club. So let's get into it. Now, I'm not going to pretend there isn't negativity there. I think there's a valid reason for people to be upset with the team's performances and how everything has been transpiring after it looked like another promising season. Now, the first of all, the season is definitely not over. There is still 6 Premier League games to play, and of course there's big ones for us such as Tottenham away and Manchester United away, but there's going to be tough games for every team. And while truly we do need to focus on our games first, going out of the Champions League is going to give us a lot of rest, which I think the team evidently need. We saw it against Aston Villa in the second half and against Bayern that the team completely looked shot to pieces. Obviously I went through this in another video talking about how the squad depth needs to play more, and I'm hoping that we start to see people like Fabio Vieira, Smith Rowe, Nelson come into the team a lot more, because quite frankly, even with Saka at 40% or whatever he is playing that right now, it's not doing enough and he isn't being very effective. And I know that we have very much big expectations, and I think that is fair enough. I think we deserve to have these expectations for what the team have showed us over the last 2 years, but they haven't made it count when it really truly matters, and that is something that we're going to have to learn going into the future. We have such a young, incredible team that have done brilliant things for the club. 3 years ago, we were 8th in the league, and it was crazy to think we'd ever be this high, fighting for titles and at least getting this far in the Champions League, let alone even being in it. Now, annoyingly, obviously Manchester City got knocked out of the Champions League as well, because that could be a good thing because it's just funny to see Man City lose, but it's also bad because it means they've got less games and they can focus on their Premier League games more. And I'm not giving up on this Premier League title just yet. We are 2 points behind Manchester City, so if they slip up once, we've got a better goal difference, then we will go ahead. Obviously the goal difference is getting shorter, but the more wins you get, then that will go up again. And at least the next week and a half, Manchester City have a very deep schedule. They play this Sunday in the FA Cup at Wembley, and then they got a game on Thursday away at Brighton and a game on Sunday away at Forest. These aren't easy games. We went away in Brighton and Forest and won, but the Forest game was very much close and the Brighton game was close until we scored. And we know how De Zerbi can be. Sometimes they really do turn up Brighton, and sometimes he does get the tactical best of teams like this, and it's definitely not the end of the world. But more specifically, Man City have still got to play teams like Tottenham away and West Ham. I think these games could be very hard for them going near the end of the season, and I don't think it's a guaranteed win. I think everyone is just so numb to the fact Man City are expected to win nearly every game, and they definitely could do, but I don't think it's a guarantee. So being 2 points behind is definitely not something to be ashamed of or shy of, and it's the same with Liverpool. It's definitely not out for them as well. And although I think Arsenal were playing at an excellent level this year, I think we've been brilliant. Of course, we lost to Aston Villa, and that was the most disappointing, I believe, out of the results against Bayern Munich. But let's not forget, Aston Villa did really focus on us in that game. Against Man City, when they played them away, they played a full reserve team out, had a few injuries and just decided to bun the game off. But when it came to us, they really wanted to try, and you know what Unai Emery's like. It is unfortunate because we did play 2 days before them, so we should have had a bit more rest, but clearly we had leggy legs. But they had a great tactical system that was very much specifically approached for us. A lot of teams that we're playing at the end of the season aren't really playing for too much. I mean, realistically, teams like Manchester United and Tottenham are playing for little European spots, but I think they'll want to beat us anyway. But teams like Chelsea, Wolves, Bournemouth, they're not really playing for anything, and even when we play Everton, by that time it might not mean anything in that game. So I'm not sure we're going to get the same specific instructions on our team than we did against Aston Villa and Unai Emery, because he hates us. And while I understand that it's a very sad time for the club, not only for the players but for the fans, because it's very disappointing, we need to stick together and get each other back up and keep pushing, because this is the time that they really need us on the pitch, especially in them home games, and this is the time that we can really prove it. People basically think we're out of everything. They think the league's over and we're gonna not win anything, but we're still only 2 points behind Man City, and anything can happen between the end of the season. I don't think Man City have particularly looked very convincing still in most of their games, as well as I don't think Liverpool have as well. I think it genuinely is still in the balance, and I think there's a lot of things that can happen, and I think there's still a lot of ways that Arsenal can improve from a tactical level, and I think some of the players that can come in that can also give us a different light going into this last bit of the season. And I also believe the setup right now probably helps us more than it did last year. Being in front, I think, did affect the team a lot, and they had a lot of pressure where a lot of people were kind of expecting them to win the league when they'd been thrusted into that position by not even being in the top 4 the year before. And everyone is going to say bottle jobs or whatever, but I think our team now, it's better that they are the ones chasing Man City rather than the ones trying to stop Man City, and they weren't that many points ahead of Man City anyway. With the games in hand, they were only ever real like 3 or 4 or 5 points ahead, which is not a lot, and that was way near before the end of the season. 2 points the difference right now as the time as I speak between obviously the top 3 going into 6 games of the season. And if we can keep winning, we can get that goal difference up and up and up, and hopefully keep the goal difference lead on the other 2, which give us, I'd say, a point advantage. And let's not forget, we have turned it around before. At the start of the year, we lost to West Ham at home, we lost to Fulham away, and that Fulham away loss was awful. We played nowhere near to potential, we looked so tired. Obviously lost to Liverpool as well in the FA Cup. We went off to Dubai, got the training and got a bit of fitness, and eventually we worked our way back up and were brilliant this year. Now obviously we don't have the same priorities, we don't have the same idea that we can just go to Dubai, can't do that. At least now maybe us being out of the Champions League will give us a little bit more rest, where we can actually relax and some other players can come into the team and we can freshen things up a little bit, because at the end of the day, this is what matters. This last 6 to 7 games is the biggest part of the season, and everything has been leading to this. So this is where we really need them to be effective and be not tired. So we've got to do everything in our power to get that. And not only that, only in the Bayern Munich game was where we didn't really create many chances. In the first leg against Bayern, I'd say we created a substantial amount of chances and were way better than Bayern, and in the end we didn't get the result because of finishing, and then we made some defensive mistakes. Against Arteta on the weekend, it was another situation where I think we really could have won that game if we just taken our chances in the first half, and this doesn't happen all the time. I know people will be quick to say when it does, because I don't think we are the best team at finishing, but usually we create so many chances that it doesn't really matter, and that's why we were smashing teams all year. And we have seen that sometimes in some weeks Arsenal's team do have effectiveness and sometimes they don't, and they get these weeks where they have off, but they have come right back soon after. So I don't think it's over, and I do think the team is going to be back to their scoring best. If we can score early in games, then I believe our defence won't make many mistakes in the game and we'll be okay. If we're not chasing the game, then it's always a good thing. But this may be the start of the downfall for Arsenal, but it's not the guarantee, and Arsenal can always bounce back and stop the season unravelling after the Bayern defeat. The Aston Villa defeat does look bad, but there's lots of circumstantials of why that happened, and I think that was more of a different result than rather this Bayern game. We should have won the home leg against Bayern, we didn't, and they beat us at their place 1-0, fair enough. But we definitely still tried our best, even if there was not a lot of intensity in the second half, I think down to tiredness and other factors around the team. Now, it is definitely the hope that kills you, but I don't think it is a completely hopeless place. We've still got a chance and we've still got a brilliant team, and I'm sure that they have realised the effectiveness of these results and will kick into gear going into the end of the season. We need a big shift from Arteta, we need a big shift from all of the squad players that need to come in and help, and of course we need the star players to finally step up again and hopefully get off their tired leg. Let me know what you guys think about Arsenal's season. Do you think there's still an opportunity to win the league? I mean, there definitely is. There's 2 points away, but will Man City win every game, or will Arsenal continue this poor form and not be able to get results? Let me know what you think in the comments. If you like this video, please go and watch my video yesterday. If not, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.